Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 Kent Davis Speaking Competition. Thank you to our community members connecting with our live stream. Now, could everyone here in the audience please take a moment and turn off your cell phone? Definitely put it away. We don't want to hear a phone dropping. I'll give you a moment. Please respect your classmates up here and take care of the device. Now, a time-honored Suffield Academy tradition, the annual Kent Davis Speaking Competition showcases excellent oratory skills among the senior class. Today, seniors will deliver speeches in two categories. One category, the Emmett Kent Public Speaking Prize, will be awarded to the student who demonstrates the best speech writing skills. The other category, Charles G. Davis Oratory Prize, will award seniors who adapt a published speech. Overall, students will be judged on their oratory skills as well as a keen awareness of their subject in relation to today's audience. One housekeeping note, please applaud for each speaker as they depart the podium here. On behalf of Mr. Dugan, Ms. Lloyd, I want to convey our appreciation for these senior Kent Davis speakers. During this busy spring trimester, these seniors all found time and all invested excellent effort into these speeches. Collectively, this dedicated group created a dynamic body of work that we will proudly install in Suffield Academy's archives today. So let's give an opening round of applause for the start of this year's Kent Davis competition.
My sweaty fingers gripped the book while my eyes remained shut in the room of darkness. The beat of the drum does nothing to calm my breaths. I'm supposed to feel the feather graze across my body by now. He said it was coming. Something is seriously wrong. I can't focus, and the animal can't come to me if I'm not in a state of relaxation. There are 52 Native American totem animals. If you think you can find yours through an online quiz, you're sadly mistaken. The only way you can truly discover your spirit animal is through a vision quest. This class, known as Adventure Ed, was the last thing I needed in a time full of incessant anxiety. The task was to discover which of the 52 animals we embodied in our spirits through a series of self-analysis projects and trips into nature. It sounds like a simple and straightforward objective, right? All of my friends seemed to resonate with one animal so clearly. Their journey was simply fate. The animal found them seamlessly. It was all meant to be. But as I flipped through the book with an open mind and heart, none of them jumped out to me or called my name, telling me I was theirs. I would wake up and ask myself who I was and why I didn't fit into a box that represented an animal. I'd ask myself what my values were and what parts of my personality really mattered or were represented in any of the animals. I ached for an animal that would perfectly align with my curiosity, frequent stubbornness, and big heart, but none of them seemed to encapsulate all of me. Sure, there were parts of different animals I identified with, but not so completely that made me feel seen. At a point, I'd come to accept my guide's analysis of me. He believed I was a deer, and I listened to him and found the parts of me that were adjacent to a deer's kindness and gentle nature. When the day of my vision quest came, though, I opened my medicine book to a disappointment. The animal that had come to me was a beaver. If your animal was meant to be, it was supposed to find you on a vision quest. I was betrayed by the deer. The beaver did nothing but agitate me. He was just another obstacle of confusion on my never-ending quest. Adventure Ed may have been over, but I would still go home and research the animals for hours. I would scrutinize what getting the beaver on my vision quest might have meant, driving myself crazy. 6 years have passed, and I'm still on my vision quest. I realized Adventure Ed wasn't so much about finding the specific animal or box to check and confine myself to for comfort, but instead an opportunity to see greatness in myself. I'm many different animals, and I no longer feel isolated when my identity doesn't fit into a box. I carve out spaces where I do fit. I'm passionate and independent. I'm grounded and down to earth. So yes, I do have the heart of a deer, but I also have the speed of a turtle and the courage of a lion, and I am uniquely me.
We meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of about a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals and cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a car with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year, and less than 2 months ago, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week, we developed penicillin and television and nuclear power. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ails as it dispels old. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. If this capsuled history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man, in his quest for knowledge and progress, is determined and cannot be deterred. We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth. But why some say the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills, because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, one we are willing to accept, and one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask for God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure that man has ever embarked.
Our phones, our screens, they're a double-edged sword, cutting into our time, yet captivating our enjoyment, slicing through our minds, yet salvaging connections. I invest my intellect in the internet. I can't help it, I tell myself. I scroll and I scroll, vertically on my phone, lying horizontally on my bed. It feels delicious to put the world on hold for a moment, until the moment turns from minutes to hours to months. Choose better, I implore myself. We are giving away our power. Our attention is priceless, stabilizing, willful. I miss when being bored meant coming up with something to do. Now we challenge boredom by being idle. Curating our consumption of media has created a reality full of choir-like community singing in agreeability. Yet, how many of us assume the world agrees while forgetting how big the world is? How many fights does that cause? Razor sharp, one edge of a shattered shard of screen slices the world into infinite individualized infernos of monotony and bias, polarized and pulverized. Still, there is beauty beyond the temptation to float, unbothered and unaware. There is no telling what humanity would have thought had they known one day all the music in the world would be in our hands. A tasteful choir of music and culture. What a wonderful privilege this is. From today's war to last month's Met Gala, being able to learn about global news in a matter of swipes. It would be hilarious how much information is at the tip of my thumb, but funnier is how little I use it. What a drag. What an echo of humanity to be cursed by the very thing that connects us. I may not want to feel both edges, but the weight of the blade is surprising. It falls and stabs me. I bleed the contradictory duality of the new age. From stone to silicon, this tantalizing realm which somehow silences and isolates me while simultaneously giving me a voice and a world to listen to it. Our attention is the hand holding the sword. Pay attention to the blade, or we're bound to hurt ourselves by blunting our inspiration. Be deliberate. Does each slice clear vines of curiosity or cut veins of confusion? Thank you.
From the day we're born, us women have standards to follow. It's as if we have a handbook for how to behave. We're taught at age 3 that frilly dresses and lip gloss are the things we should want. We're given Barbies and princess dress-up clothes, while boys are given trucks and dinosaurs and superheroes. As if to say, he can be strong, independent, and have a job, but you look really cute in those jeans, and that's all that matters, right? We're taught that being a feminist is bad, that proudly announcing, "I'm a feminist," is just about the most controversial opinion you can have as a woman. Think about that for a second. We're taught that to be pretty is to be a size 2 or below, that you need curves and a flat stomach, that our hair should be long and natural, and that we should be quiet. Well, I don't want to be quiet. As a woman, I have been force-fed the importance of people-pleasing. The only way to get what you want is to not make anybody mad, and the easiest way to do that is to keep your mouth shut. As a woman, I have been taught to take up as little space as possible. Suck in your stomach, cross your legs, hands in your lap, lips closed. As a woman, I have been told to be grateful for the rights that we do have, to stop fighting. We have enough. We have the right to vote now, and we can work and get an education, but the issues that we should be included in are, for some reason, the ones we don't have a say in. As a woman, I have been taught that my body is not worth protecting, that I don't get to choose what I do with it, but rather a group of old men who will never experience a period or a pregnancy do. As a woman, I have been taught to take responsibility for the faults of men. Well, how much did you have to drink? What were you wearing? As if because she was wearing a short skirt and on her 3rd shot, her pain is any less legitimate. As a woman, if I want to be heard in a room full of men, I have to speak 10 times louder, while still never raising my voice. As a woman, my moves are not powerful. They're calculated, manipulative, and deceitful. And God forbid my voice quivers just the tiniest bit, because we can't have emotions getting in the way of our important decisions. We need to stop shoving Barbies and lip gloss and handbooks into the arms of little girls. We need to stop giving them hand-me-down role models that are pre-approved by the patriarchy. We need to stop trying to teach them their place before teaching them their ABCs, and we need to stop allowing ourselves to be silenced. I don't want your handbooks. I don't want your standards. And I don't want to be quiet.
I am not
here to tell you about all the things I've learned in life. Today, I will tell you the things I've learned in death. I was swallowed up in a deep fog of grief, an emptiness that fills your heart, your lungs, constricts your ability to think or even to breathe. Death changed me in profound ways. I learned about the depths of sadness and the brutality of loss. But I also learned that when life sucks you under, you can kick against the bottom, break the surface, and breathe again. In the face of any challenge, you can choose joy and meaning. I'm sharing this with you in the hopes that today you can learn the lessons that I only learned in death. Lessons about hope, strength, and the light within us that will not be extinguished. Everyone has already experienced some type of disappointment. You wanted an A, but you got a B. Okay, let's be honest, you got an A-, but you're still mad. You will almost certainly face more and deeper adversity. There's a loss of opportunity, a loss of dignity, a loss of love, and sometimes a loss of life itself. The question is not if some of these things will happen to you. They will. Today, I want to talk about what happens next, about the things you can do to overcome adversity, no matter what form it takes. The easy days ahead of you will be easy. It's the hard days, the ones that challenge you to your very core, that will determine who you are. You will not be defined by what you achieve, but how you survive. Finding gratitude and appreciation is the key to resilience. Live with the understanding of how precious every day can be, how precious every day actually is. As I stand here today, two things are true. I have a huge reservoir of sadness, right here where I can touch it. But I'm also grateful for each breath, grateful for the gift of life itself. I used to go to sleep worrying about the things I did wrong that day. And trust me, that list was often quite long. But now I try really hard to focus on each day's moments of joy. It is the greatest irony of my life that death helps me find a deeper gratitude. My hope for you is that you can find that gratitude, not just on the good days like today, but on the hard ones when you'll really need it. And when those challenges come, I hope you remember anchored deep within you is the ability to learn and grow. You are not born with a fixed amount of resilience. Like a muscle, you can build it up and draw on it when you need it. And in that process, you may figure out who you really are, and you might just become the very best version of yourself.
To J.K. Rowling from Cho Chang. When you put me in your books, millions of Asian girls across America rejoiced. Finally, a potential Halloween costume that wasn't a geisha or Mulan. What's not to love about me? I'm everyone's favorite character. I totally get to fight tons of Death Eaters, have a great sense of humor, and I'm full of complex emotions. Oh wait, that's the version of Harry Potter where I'm not totally worthless. First of all, you put me in Ravenclaw. Of course, the only Asian at Hogwarts would be in the nerdy house. Too bad there wasn't a house that specialized in computers and math and karate, huh? I know you thought you were being tolerant. Between me, Dean, the Indian twins, Hogwarts has like 5 people of color. It doesn't matter we're all minor characters. No, you're not racist. Miss Rowling, let's talk about my name. In a world where people are named Albus Dumbledore, Nymphadora Tonks, Minerva McGonagall, my name is Cho. Chang. Cho and Chang are both last names. They are both Korean last names. I am supposed to be Chinese. Me being named Cho Chang is like a Frenchman being named Garcia Sanchez. So thank you. Thank you for giving me no heritage. Thank you for giving me a name as generic as a ninja costume, as chopstick hair ornaments. Miss Rowling, I know you're just the latest participant in a long tradition of making an Asian woman into a tragic fetish. Madame Butterfly, Japanese woman, falls in love with a white soldier, is abandoned, kills herself. Miss Saigon, Vietnamese woman falls in love with a white soldier, gets abandoned, kills herself. Memoirs of a Geisha. Lucy Liu in Leather. Schoolgirl porn. So let me cry over boys more than I speak. Let me fulfill your diversity quota. Just one more Asian girl mourning her white hero. What else could I be but what you made me? Submissive, subordinate, subplot. Go ahead, tell me I'm overreacting. Ignore the fact that your books have sold over 400 million copies worldwide. I am plastered across movie screens, a best-selling caricature. Miss Rowling, I will not forget that your characters and your plots did not just magically fall into your laps. Everything, from my hair color to mannerisms, was your choice. Of course, you weren't aware of these racist implications, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't question or critique. My point is that racism isn't just present in small niche cultures. It is in the world I live, it is in the world you read. My piece is not a critique on you, Miss Rowling, as much as it is on the repeated tokenization and politicization of Asian women in popular culture.
But you don't look queer. People have told me that. I don't look queer. Why should I care if I'm not a target? If I can avoid issues, isn't that good enough? Well, the fact remains that I am queer. That won't change for anything. What happens when the people who look queer have been killed and the attention turns to anyone else deemed undesirable? What if I do look queer in the future? What about when calling someone queer becomes an attack order? What will I do then? Just because I might have an easier time hiding doesn't make any problems, any dangers less real. And should I choose to hide, it would quickly stop being a choice. Not all of us are queer, but the first thing, the only thing that is true for everyone is that we are human. Even if I wasn't queer, shouldn't I still do what is right? Should I not give others a voice when they've been told they have none? Violence against queers can't be stopped by one person, but together we press forwards. Those with the courage to act have lent their strength time and time again. I have seen others defend their allies, shielding people from blows, facing down threats and slurs. I have seen people make themselves a target so that others can stay safe. People I have never spoken to would lay down their life for my sake because they know that everyone is needed for progress to be made. I will confess, there have been times that I failed to act. Times when I stood idly by while others around me were struck down for being who they are. Times when I could have done something but was too scared, too self-absorbed to help, and I'm ashamed of that. Because failing to make a stand is no better than destroying those lives yourself. But there are other times. Times when I learned from my past failures and did better, did more. Times when after the parades have ended and the flags have been taken down, there I stood, with broken bones and bloody knuckles. My body had splintered, but my resolve held firm, and that alone kept me standing. I had fought. When aggressors charged through the crowd, seeking to dissolve our show of pride, I stood my ground. And when people around me were assailed, I rallied for their defense. The wounds I bore were the least of my concern. I had fought, not for my friends. It didn't matter who was around me. It didn't matter if I despised them with every fiber of my being. I would still fight because they are human, and they deserve that same respect. People have told me that fighting won't solve anything, but indolence solves less. When people decide that maintaining norms is more important than our lives, are we expected to just stand there and take it? Are we supposed to sit by and watch while others are killed because violence isn't the answer? So we stand, and we fight. We fight so others may not have to. We fight so basic human respect isn't something that can be stripped away at the whim of others. Because if you know that something is your right, you have to be prepared to defend it with everything you have. And if the path towards progress must be carved in flesh and metal, then so be it. We will not be silenced.
My mother taught me this trick. If you repeat something over and over and over again, it loses meaning. For example, Homework, 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 homework. See? Nothing. Our lives, she said, are the same way. You watch the sunset too often, it just becomes 6 p.m. If you make the same mistake over and over and over again, you'll stop calling it a mistake. If you just wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, you'll forget why. I should have known nothing is forever. My parents left each other when I was just 7 years old. Before their last argument, they sent me off to the neighbor's house like some astronaut jettisoned from the shuttle. When I came back, there was no gravity at home. I imagined it as an accident. And when I left, they whispered to each other, "I love you," so many times that they forgot what it meant. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. See? Nothing. My mother taught me this trick. If you repeat something over and over again, it loses meaning. This became my favorite game. It made the sting of words evaporate. Separation, separation, separation. See? Nothing. Apart, apart, apart. See? Nothing. When I was young, I was taught the trick to dominating language was breaking it down and convincing it that it was worthless. Soon after my parents' divorce, I developed a stutter. Fate is a cruel and efficient tutor. There is no escape in a stutter. You can feel the meaning of every word drag itself up your throat. Separation. Stutter is a cage made of mirrors. Every, "What'd you say?" Every, "It's okay, just take your time." Every, "Come on, kids, spit it out." It's a glaring reflection of an existence that you cannot escape. Every awful moment trips over its own announcement again and again until it just hangs there in the center of the room as if what you had to say had no gravity at all. Mom, Dad, I'm not wasteful with my words anymore. And even now, after hundreds of hours of practicing away my stutter, I can still feel the claw of meaning in the bottom of my throat. Listen to me. I've heard that even in space, you can still hear the scratch of an "I love you."